For over 50 years, San Antonio's Southside has been kind of the forgotten half of the city. Meanwhile, the North Side was getting all the attention between UTSA, the Medical Center, Shops at La Cantera, the Rim, and billions more in development. But that's all starting to shift, and it's happening fast. And in this video, we are breaking down everything you need to know about this game changer for the south side of San Antonio. All right, so here's what sets this apart from most of the kind of random development that you see in a lot of other areas. The development on that south side of San Antonio is really focused around one central hub. When you look at Texas A&M San Antonio, you've got major healthcare, major manufacturing jobs, and the education, along with some of top-tier housing developments going up, all within a 5-mile radius of that central Texas A&M San Antonio campus. And the timeline is pretty impressive. 2024 saw multiple groundbreakings. We've got construction in full swing, and by mid-2026, we're going to see a lot of these things start to open their doors. You've got JCB's massive manufacturing plant, the Toyota facility, and they're expanded. The University Hospital right there next to A&M San Antonio, VITA. You've also got more Texas A&M San Antonio expansion, so you have so much going on in a very small area so far. By 2027, you're looking at the hospital being open, and by 2030, they're going to have over 3,400 jobs that they have filled, and Texas A&M San Antonio surpassing over 10,000 students. So one of the main reasons, of course, is that the land down there is a lot more affordable. The north side has a lot going already, billions in development, like I said, over the decades of San Antonio's growth. South side, you can get land for a lot cheaper, a lot more affordable price, and kind of get in on the ground level with some of these, future long-term developments. In fact, you look at how Toyota opened in 2006 and proved that a major manufacturer could thrive in that south side of San Antonio. And when you look at A&M San Antonio and all the growth that it's seen over the years as well. And Toyota specifically, especially with the manufacturing on that south side, we're going to talk about the manufacturing side of things a little bit more later. But it's been a big factor for all of San Antonio. In my opinion, what really set all of this in motion wasn't Toyota opening back in 2006. It was really that Texas A&M San Antonio vision of what they saw as becoming the next UTSA. You see how big UTSA has become on a national stage. A&M San Antonio set that as their vision. They were going to be chasing after UTSA and going for that same goal. And that has created a tidal wave, in my opinion, of growth in this area that we're just starting to see the beginning of. You look at the JCB manufacturing plant and University Hospital. I mean, those are two major pieces that are starting to come to light here this year in the next 12 months that will really change the landscape of the south side of San Antonio. And quick note before we dive a little bit deeper, my name is Michael McCall. I run the Life and SATX home group right here in the heart of San Antonio. I've got a small team of rock star real estate agents that would love to be of assistance with you guys. So whether you're looking at moving here in 2 days or 2 years, or if you're local to San Antonio and need some help selling your house, we would love to be of assistance with whatever it is that you guys need. All of my information is right down there in that description. Go in and schedule a call, and we will be able to walk through the steps of exactly what you're looking for with you personally. So here's something you might not have heard of. In fact, San Antonio businessman Graham Weston called this deal the biggest thing since Toyota. JCB is a British large equipment manufacturer. So they're setting up shop on 400 acres right off of Palo Alto Road and Zarzamora. This is a $500 million investment with plans to create over 1,500 jobs by 2030. The facility will open in October of 2026, starting off with 500 jobs, and then they're going to add an additional 1,000 over the next 4 years after that. So one thing that I found that was pretty interesting is that their wages and their hiring plan, okay? So their low salary is starting at $20.54 an hour. So good, solid paying jobs. Average is about $54,000 a year. But another thing you're going to find is that 5% of their workforce is going to come from Haven for Hope. You're going to have 200 jobs filled by veterans and military spouses, and 450 hired from students at local technical schools. And the rest, the other 500, are going to come from direct hires. Where a lot of these folks are going to be officing out of is a 50,000 square foot office building. It's going to have gym, cafeteria, the like. So this is not just a big manufacturing warehouse. This is a corporate facility. They're also looking at running like an apprenticeship program with 30 to 40 workers per year, just like they do at their Georgia plant. And here's the economic impact that you can expect based off some of the projections. One of the estimates that I saw was a $30 billion economic impact to San Antonio as a whole. There's a commercial real estate developer that is planning a 1.1 million square foot industrial park for JCB suppliers. And obviously, with more and more people coming to this area for all these jobs that are being created, there's going to need to be some road improvements. So you can think of construction that's going to need to happen on those roads and the jobs that's going to happen as a result of just in general, more people being in this area. Now, even though this is a British company, one thing that I love is seeing the statement from one of their own saying that JCB, especially at this manufacturing facility, is not just going to be American made. They're going to focus on being proudly Texan made, which for all of us Texans is a huge win in my opinion. Like I mentioned earlier, JCB is not the only manufacturer making big moves down here on the south side. Toyota is expanding its facility drastically as well. In fact, in June of 2024, Toyota announced that they were going to be creating a $531 million additional facility. It's going to be a 500,000 square foot standalone facility, which is going to create another 400 jobs for Toyota. So what this is going to be is they're creating a drivetrain parts manufacturing facility, which before they would have come from a third-party supplier outside of Texas. Well, now they're going to be supplied right there next door. It's going to help with cost, supply chain control, all the things that a big company like Toyota needs to ramp up their production and create even more trucks and more vehicles from this Texas plant. So overall, Toyota looks at an average salary of about $68,000, which is definitely above what the median is for San Antonio. Over the years, you look at the investment that Toyota has made into San Antonio as a whole. They've already put in $4.7 billion into the San Antonio facility, and in 2023, they created 181,000 vehicles out of this Texas plant. This additional investment of over $500 million definitely shows that Toyota sees a lot of potential for everything that they've got going for them and what they've been able to build here in San Antonio. This is a long-term commitment that's going to help just continue to grow this area, going to help continue to improve the livelihood and the development opportunities for these people on the south side of San Antonio, and just overall it's just great for the entire city and South Texas as a whole. Now, the manufacturing is kind of the economic base in my opinion. So you look at that, but you have to have more than just the manufacturing jobs. This is what brings the people to the area, but you have to give them a reason to want to stay in this area. Otherwise, they're going to be okay living on that north side and commuting the 45 minutes to an hour to get down to that south side just for work. That's where the other things like the healthcare and the education come into play. San Antonio is known for its healthcare opportunities. The medical center, South Texas Medical Center, is a hub for entirety of South Texas, especially when it comes to its trauma care. And then you also have its VA hospitals and, with BAMC and all the opportunities with that. But that's all kind of up on that northern side of town. The south side has kind of been, again, left out of the equation with the big hospitals, especially the newer ones. So this university hospital that's coming down to this same area is going to drastically change these things quite a bit. So the facility is going to be on a 68-acre piece of land right next to A&M San Antonio. It's going to be 5 stories tall, 166 bed with the expansion ability to go up to 286 beds as this area continues to grow. Planning on opening in 2027, and the total cost is going to be about $750 million. Not only is the hospital being built, they're also building a 100,000 square foot attached office building for specialists. It's going to have the works. I mean, this is a full service hospital. I mean, if you know anything about University Hospital, it is a major piece of San Antonio's medical core. You're going to have, 24/7 emergency care, NICU. You're going to have labor and delivery, operating rooms, radiology. I mean, everything that you need in a full service hospital. You've also got the Vita Clinic, which is a 3-story, 60,000 square foot facility that's already up and running. This offers full range of things as well. You've got, primary care, you've got, women's health, you've got prenatal care, mental health services. I mean, all kind of the general office stuff, kind of general everyday care things that you need just to, live your life and make sure you're staying up to health, up to par on your health. Staffing these hospitals is going to be a challenge, but medical professionals are, all over the place, and it's why it's such a fulfilling job in my opinion. You look at needing about 1,000 jobs between each different hospital. This is such a huge step for this area and is really going to help bridge that gap, because outside of going and driving 20-30 minutes away to get to the medical center, I mean, this is literally something that all these people that live in this area can go to, that is right in their backyard. And then you've got the education at A&M San Antonio that's going to build a longer term foundation for this entire area just blowing up again and again and again. Now let me just show you how fast A&M San Antonio is growing. In 2009, they had just 126 students. Their goal is to have 50,000 by 2040. That's just 14 years from now. Just to put that into perspective, UTSA currently only has about 32,000, and that was their highest ever enrollment as of 2024. So A&M San Antonio started in 2009, just accepting some upper level, certain degrees, very, very small. Obviously 126 students, that's not very much. There's classes at UTSA that are probably bigger than that. Between 2008 and 2013, it grew at a rate of over 200% per year, which is the highest in Texas. Then in 2016, they started accepting freshmen. It was just a few classes. Now in fall of 2024, they broke records with 8,000 student enrollment, and they're growing at over 5% year over year, which will obviously only grow in my opinion, and that will continue to exponentially grow because they've also got 700 acres of land to expand their facilities to. Students are coming in from over 30 states, 24 different countries, and the overall economic impact to San Antonio was $292 million. Again, like I said, their growth goals are massive. So they expect to hit 50,000 students by 2040. They'll probably hit 10,000 enrollment either in 2026 this year or next year in 2027. They've got a $55 million public health and education building that's set to open in the spring of 2026. They've got a new rec center, new residence hall. They're opening a new athletic facility that they said should be open in spring of 2026. And they're starting to look at expanding their science and technology fields with a new support for new degree programs such as construction management, electrical engineering, computer engineering, healthcare administration, nursing, and even a doctoral degree in education leadership. And the growth to support all these students coming to this area is already happening. Again, you look at Vida, you look at 2,500 multifamily units that are being built in Vida, 2,400 single family homes, tons of retail and commercial and office space, and 750 condos. So you're going to have a lot of support that's within walking distance, again, from a very, very, very good school with a great future. So as always, we can talk about the development plans. We can talk about, all the things that are coming to this area, but where's the infrastructure going to support this? How are they going to do that? Between new residents, obviously commuters going into work, students that are going to school and living outside of, the immediate area surrounding the campus, there's going to need to be some improvements. One thing that they're looking at doing is this new Kelly Parkway. This is a proposed 15-mile thoroughfare that's going to go basically connecting 35 and 37 and should go right there past all of this entire area, the JCB Toyota manufacturing plants especially. Now they still got to seek the funding and get all the final plans and everything put together. So this is still just a proposed plan, but they're going to need to do something relatively soon because this growth and development has already started. One thing that also happens a lot in the areas like this that are mostly rural, and especially as they are starting to develop for the first time, is rezoning issues. So one of the things that they're looking at is a compatibility overlay district kind of surrounding the Toyota manufacturing facility. So basically they're looking at rezoning about 20,000 acres around this Toyota plant to, make sure that there's no compatibility issues with developers coming in and building something that wouldn't really work next to these manufacturing facilities. This is not approved yet. It's still being refined and did receive some pushback back in 2024, but looking at something like this is something that is necessary and just a part of the process when it comes to looking at developments for areas that historically have not been developed a whole lot. Now, if you're buying into this development hype that is going on at the south side of San Antonio, and the evidence is obviously hard to ignore, where should you be investing and what's the future outlook for these investments? Well, obviously this is not a short-term thing. This is a long-term plan that is going to take a long time, decades, to come to fruition. But you look at JCB talking about the 400 acres that they have and their plans to expand in the future. You look at the 700 acres that A&M San Antonio has and how much they could develop on that 700 acres and potentially acquiring more land if they needed it, right? And there's lots of new home developments already happening. We talked about Vida. You look at areas like Converse, which we've talked about on this channel a lot, and the development that's happening over there. That's not a far drive from this area. You look at places like that kind of southwest side of San Antonio where Highway 90 and 1604 meet. You've got a lot of stuff going on there. The north side is still 30 to 40% more expensive than it is on the south side. So it still makes the south side incredibly attractive from an affordability standpoint as well. Because of that affordability, I do see some potential if there is a lot more development happening in these areas where you're going to see prices start to go up, especially with these new construction neighborhoods over the next 10 years or so. So that's something where you're still thinking long term. This is none of this stuff is not a single one of these things is a 1 to 2 year play. You have lots of risk with these things, of course. I mean, the infrastructure being the biggest thing that the county, the city, and the state really have to focus on making sure they're building to allow the most sustainable growth to occur. Another challenge is that they're going to have to get over the stereotype of the Southside being, kind of a underdeveloped area with not a lot going on. The affordability down there is great, and that's going to attract a lot of people. But is it attracting the right people to come in and fill these higher end jobs without sending them to other places like, the North Side or the Northeast or Northwest sides? Is it going to be enough with what they're building now to attract those jobs down to the South Side and support additional growth, whether it means, the entertainment or the retail, like those things that keep people in one place? Those things are going to have to catch up with the bigger staples of the manufacturing, healthcare, and education jobs that are there and, obviously are going to be going strong in the very near future. Another important factor for all of this is, of course, whenever you have families moving anywhere, school ratings are incredibly important. One of the things that attracts a lot of people up to that north side is that some of the school ratings for those districts up there are higher than the ratings in the school districts on the south side of San Antonio. So there needs to be some work in improving those schools to make them more attractive for people that are coming from out of state to go to these areas where there is a lot of job growth happening. Of course, you always have economic uncertainty. If there's some issues in the economy that really affect the amount of vehicles that people are buying, Toyota could drastically ramp down their production and layoffs could happen. Same thing with JCB. If construction stops throughout the country or throughout Texas especially, that need for those machines is going to go down, and thus layoffs will happen there. So as with any big manufacturing and big employer, you have those risks, and you always will have those risks, but there's no real way to get away from that, no matter what you're trying to do. You also have another concern, which is something that's kind of a hot button topic for a lot of people, and that is the gentrification of an area. I get a lot of comments and a lot of people talking about that with downtown San Antonio and how a lot of these old historic homes and historically underappreciated areas, buy these houses super cheap, and they tear them down and they build these super expensive condos, townhomes, single family homes. And a lot of people have mixed feelings about that. And the same thing you could look at for an area that starts to develop that hasn't been developed before. That's the south side. So you look at the areas kind of surrounding that and making sure that the prices don't drastically increase taxes in these areas, don't drastically, make life challenging for an area that, has a lot of people that have lived here for decades and generations even. So making sure that, keeping everybody's thought process in mind and making sure we're looking at the entire well-being of a community and not just, hey, how quickly can we develop this area and bring as many people to this area as possible? You got to think about the whole picture when you're looking at all of this. This honestly goes way beyond just San Antonio too. You look at JCB, they were an international manufacturer, Toyota as well. They chose San Antonio over anywhere else in the world. Okay, obviously there's a big demand for a lot of people here in Texas, and the fact that a large construction equipment manufacturer chose South Texas should show you where the trajectory of the Texas development is going to go, and overall that's going to make the entire country grow, because Texas being the central hub of a lot of the growth in this country is going to have widespread effects everywhere, with people coming here for jobs, people being able to support additional jobs in other places, third-party suppliers and things like that support these manufacturers, and all those types of things that are just kind of ancillary effects of the main sources of these jobs and honestly the economic impact with it. Texas has prided itself in being a business-friendly state, and that has obviously brought in a huge impact to tons of areas. San Antonio is seeing more and more opportunities come to it. It's not just going to the Dallases and the Houstons of the world. We're seeing a lot of future promise in what San Antonio could be, and the south side transforming the way that it is. It's not just that north side, that area between San Antonio and Austin. It is happening on areas that have historically been undervalued and underappreciated. The real question is, will this transform the South Side for the better? Is it going to happen in 5 to 10 years, or is it going to be 20 to 30 years? In my opinion, it's not if, it's when. So again, guys, if you are looking at any additional information and you want us to walk through these things specifically with you, whether you're looking at moving here to San Antonio, investing in San Antonio, whatever it may be, we would love to connect with you guys at the Life in SATX Home Group. Again, you can shoot us an email at info@lifeinsanantoniotexas.com, or you can also go in and schedule a call with us directly. Okay, myself or one of the guys on my team would love to connect with you and really be a resource for you guys and whatever it is that you need. We know this area, again, like the back of our hands. We know construction very well, so if you're looking at any of these new construction communities, that is one of the things that I've focused on and I've really trained my team to focus on as well. It's a big deal here in San Antonio, all these new construction neighborhoods, and it honestly is a big benefit for you guys to talk with one of us just to get some advice on what it means to work with an agent and kind of buying one of these new construction neighborhoods and any of these big developments around the town. And if you want to learn more about San Antonio and the 5 main reasons that I believe it's going to thrive over the next decade, take a look at this video right here. Now, thanks again, guys. If you haven't subscribed already, do that, and we'll see you in the next one.